Welcome to Be Hero Fights. I'm Tom.
And I'm Brian.
And we are here to discuss
Or fuss.
over two hotly debated, highly related topics.
Last week, we did a little bit of a change of format. And instead of doing one debate, we did multiple debates. It was a mini debate that we had that was fantastic. We invited a couple of friends to join us. If you guys missed it, go back and watch it. It was fantastic. And just to save yourselves in the future so you never miss anything like this, go on to YouTube right now. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so you see it. But Tom, it was super fun.
It was. I should have won. There was definitely some bias against me. People were calling shots that were just totally unfounded. But
he says this every episode.
I'm not a sore loser.
Not at all, no. But this week we're going to go back to our regular format with another great fight. But before we do that, I just wanted you guys to join us in joining on our sponsor we have today, which once again is Riverside FM. Riverside FM is great. They are what we've been using for months now to do all of our streaming and recording. So it's a web-based app, so it means you have to have none of the technology, English is hard, none of the technology to be able to have to do all the streaming stuff that we do. So all you need to do is have a mic and maybe a webcam if you want it on video. They do everything else. They have all the storage there. You can do editing off of it. They have everything. So for a great simple price, you have everything there for you. You can also stream right from there. So hit right here in the link below to join us on Riverside FM.
That's right. Going along with that, though, make sure you comment on the episodes. If you had it, if you enjoyed it, share. Or if you want to get involved in any way, obviously hit us up on our social media, facebook.com/BeHeroMedia, instagram.com/BeHeroMedia.
Everything that is Be Hero at BeHeroMedia.com, as well as on Twitter at BeHeroFights and BeHeroMedia.
That's right. Let's go over some of the comments that we got. So actually, no, let's not do that quite yet. Let's talk about what we're drinking today. What are we drinking?
Yeah. So today, to tie into the episode, and since obviously you clicked on this episode, you know we are doing God of War versus Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
And we're doing it based off of the newer version of God of War that they've recently come out with for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. And both God of War and Dante's Inferno deal a lot with bloody cold things. A lot of God of War is in the Norse mythology, which means it's like in the Netherlands and so on. So it's going to be bloody cold. What better thing to have when you're cold than vodka? Specifically, Tito's handmade vodka.
Warms the belly.
Damn right.
Cheers.
It's good stuff, man. Good
always.
Yeah.
Now, this was a fight that we had actually talked about. We've been talking about it for quite a while. But it was one that we originally teased through social media.
Yep.
So we actually put out an image for it a couple months ago, and just to get some of your guys' feedback. And we got quite a bit of really good feedback, so let's go over a couple of those comments real quick. First off, our friends from the Canceled for Maintenance podcast, they said, God of War hands down. Better play, better compelling story, and you're more invested in the characters. Dante was good, don't get us wrong, but God of War was just more compelling and put a twist to what we know of folklore. I disagree.
There's
nothing more compelling, but I'm not going to get into it because we're going to get into it in a minute.
I mean, both games are great, and it's hard to say which one you're more invested in just because of the stories that go on. I think there's a lot of amount of religious biasm to either, so you have to kind of go with both. All right, guys. So on the next comment we have from this great conversation of God of War versus Dante's Inferno is from LSR Studios. It's a fancy name. They say, God of War, based off the story alone for me. And again, I love both of these games, and that's specifically the games we're talking about. I love both of these games, so I'm very intrigued to see how this fight goes, but for me, I think the story of the newest God of War is a bit of a better story, but it's just barely. I think the Dante's Inferno story is fantastic too.
I mean, God of War has had a lot of time to kind of I guess, figure out their method for storytelling.
Yep.
And no, yeah, they are really great stories. I just have a special place in my heart for Dante.
Giggity.
The last comment is from Ourbrow129, and he says, Dante's Inferno was epic, but it was really short. I would probably say God of War. Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're going for bulk, quantity of the content, then sure.
Again, if you compare the games directly, I don't know how much different in amount of gameplay that there was, because God of War, the newer one, was fairly short too. If you do the encompassing all of God of War games, of course you're going to, because they have 4 direct PlayStation games plus multiple tie-in games. So it'd be hard to say one way or the other, or it'd be hard to compare those.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, with that being said, and since we already buried the lead in the fight we're doing, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It'll be a great one. And in fact, I am not fighting in this one.
Nope. He is sitting back, putting his judging cap on. And we have a return guest this time. So let's go ahead and introduce again who we have with us. Nigel, how are you doing today?
Ahoy, hoy. Definitely on the opposing side.
Yes.
Yes.
And considering the fact that I won last time.
Yeah,
brag.
he's gotten quite the big head in
Giggity.
We go with phrasing. We need to go with phrasing.
Phrasing.
Come on, guys. Come on. Keep it clean.
And welcome back, Puppet Pat.
As always.
Yep. And yeah, so we're gonna get into the fight. So I will be going with the side of Dante's Inferno, and Nigel, since you're on a winning streak, you're going with God of War, but we're gonna have you go first.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. To be honest with you, the idea... before.
One second though, before we start. We do this in 3 rounds.
Yep.
First round, we open our argument. Second round is open debate. And the third round, final thoughts. During the opening argument, we're just going to focus on our topic without tearing down the other one too much yet. So, Brian, as the judge, you start us off.
All right, guys. So, like you said, we'll do round 1, round 2, and final round. So,
Round 1. Fight!
So Dante's Inferno, while I loved the idea...
stick with the God of War.
God of War, for me, loving the storyline, loving the artistry, loving the battle style of Kratos. Like, I absolutely love the chains and all the other different weapons that came with it. If we're strictly talking about the game, then yes, absolutely. I love the gameplay of it. Loved how the fighting style was. Mind you, for a button masher, it was a good game. It was a button masher, hands down, but gosh, loved mashing those buttons, all the different scenes and plays that they went into, the moments, the cutscenes. The cutscenes were the greatest. Loved taking those moments to just watch him, you could put the controller down and just watch him take it down, and then add in that little bit of button push. It was like watching a cinematic beauty. I absolutely loved it.
Right on. Well, just in case the fans don't know, give us a little rundown of what God of War, the newer version, was.
So if we're going with
story.
the newer version, when I played that was, I want to say, a few months ago. He's retired, per se, sitting in the middle of nowhere. All of a sudden, him and his son are attacked by another being who you know little about. This mystery that they put into behind having to dig and having to find all the different things that were going through it. I loved mainly the interaction between the father and the son, the interaction and the dad jokes.
Yes.
I love dad jokes. A woman who can tell me a dad joke, she's mine. But when you're talking about the game, the dad jokes got it for me, hands down.
Well, if there's any ladies in the audience who like dad jokes, go ahead and comment down here, or we'll make sure to pass that along to Nigel. So, all right, Tom.
All right, so Dante's Inferno, fantastic game. Came out, I believe it was 2011, I think.
Something around there, yeah.
Yeah, 2010, 2011. What it is, you're following a protagonist who is traveling through the realms or circles of hell in order to save his fiancée from the devil. It's based, I guess. So there is a book, an old book called Dante's Inferno. It's part of a 3-part series by Dante.
It's actually from
It's called The Divine Comedy.
the Divine Comedy.
Yes.
by Dante Alighieri. I think that's what his name is.
Yes. And having read that and played the game and watched the anime, it story-wise, the book is not that. But it is very descriptive of what hell is like. And so what is really unique about this game is it takes that hellscape and it brings it to life like nothing you've ever seen or experienced before. And it doesn't pull any punches. It doesn't care about being controversial. It's like, nah, this is hell. There's some up here. And it's kind of creepy. And so like it's very dark, but it's also got the way that they tell the story, the narrative that they have behind that is just very, very compelling. You are invested in this character the whole way through. So
right on, boys. Well, I think we have a good understanding of both the games and their backgrounds and story. So let's go ahead into this fight into
Round 2. Fight.
All right, so we will start with Nigel. Nigel, tell us why God of War is the better game over Dante's Inferno.
Well, we can lead with size. As much as I do know and understand that quality versus quantity, if you're looking at quality, there is tons of quality. The sheer amount of gods, goddesses, creatures, nefarious creatures, evil villains, you name it, there were tons in God of War. But Dante was a great story. Limited on characters, though. So when you're really looking at...
beg to differ.
When you're really looking at character development, which I love investing myself into a character, Kratos is deep, but he's full of secrets, and you want to try and pull apart all those secrets, pull back all those layer of onions. And when you get to the deeper part of it, the relationship between the boy, the relationship between the mother who's not even there, she is dead, and yet the moments where they talk about the mom are, I didn't tear up, that was you crying, not me crying. So when you look at it, what story are you really looking for? Are you looking for a love story? Has it? Horror story? There's tons of blood. When you're looking for a comedy, the dad jokes. Everything that you pull from this, just from quantity and quality, there's so much more of it. It's immersive. The one part that I love the most is actually the scene where you're finding about the boy's past and who he truly is, where he's coming from, the relationship they have with the mother, how you see Kratos feel. And this is a man who is just built like a tank. All the scenes, I love the fight between, oh bloody hell, what was his name? Loki, wasn't it?
Loki is the boy.
Right, the boy. Who's he facing? The guy with the beard, and he just beat the crap out of him. He kept coming back to life with the super regeneration stuff.
What
was his name?
Boulder.
Boulder.
It's based off of the Greek story, or not the Greek story, excuse me, the Norse story, where Freya, Balder's mom, went and talked to every living thing to make a promise that they would not kill Balder, and that's where that concept comes from.
Yes, how he keeps coming back, that arrogance, and you want to hate him. I loved hating him, and I just loved just every button push felt satisfying. Every time, just repetitively, and that was the whole point, is that there were so many different angles, so many different positions where they put your character, Kratos, and the moments where the boy get in trouble, it was actually one of those moments where I'm like, okay, the boy's in trouble, gotta save the boy, must save the boy, and mind you, I kept saying the boy in my head, I'm like, that's not his name, but I kept finding myself doing it, and every time you're walking along and you hear him talk to the boy, I stopped. I had to stop, and I wanted to listen to more. The development, the sheer amount of attention that you want to give to a game, at me personally wanting to make one myself, if you're going to give devotion to a game, have those moments where you have to stop the character. You're not running from point A to point B. I think they put it pretty clear in one of these Doom or not Doom trailers, but a Doom. This is how you play Doom, and this is your first time playing Doom. Find the button, push the button, keep push the button. There's another button, find the button, and then you're just going through and shooting everything. In this one, I want to stop. I want to take the moments that. What's the rest of that dad joke? That was touching. I love that one, Dad. God, there's just so many good points, but I'd have to say that as much as one will probably bring up, the quantity versus quality. They've got both. And God of War, the whole series. I mean, I was a kid. Oh man, I was pretty young. I mean, I'm older than you, younger than you by a little bit. But it was one of those ones where I remember deeply the moments where I had with my PlayStation controller in hand, watching the screen as it came on and just loving every moment of it. But playing God of War, oof, that hands down brought me so many good memories. So many good memories.
Yep.
Look, I'm gonna pull some hard punches here. And that's because God of War is a very easy thing to just be trendy. You know, like, hey, let's make a character that kills gods, and we'll pretend like it's based in mythology. We'll shit on mythology while we do it. The thing is like, it's so easy, and like so many times in Hollywood and in video games, they take a concept and they're just like, oh, this would just be fun, and you know, people will buy it. So that's kind of what God of War is in my mind. It's something that's just packaged to be sold like that. Dante's Inferno is different. Yes, both of them are a very similar style of gameplay. But I would say what sets Dante's Inferno apart is, while it is based in a Christian theology, it challenges it. It talks about how the Crusades were Satan's crusades and not actually for Christ, and that everyone that was involved in pushing that went to hell, right? It talks about the horrible things. So not only are you getting like actual history lessons of what happened and the horrible things that were happened in the name of religion and of Christianity or whatever, which is very relevant. Like, people need to understand that, like, it's not all sunshine and roses. There's some messed up stuff that happened in history. And so not only is that teaching, younger people, appropriate age people, hopefully, about what happened, challenging it, but it's also created, like you said, like the only thing that you mentioned that it doesn't have is comedy. It's a very dark, very serious game. But it has compelling characters. It has way more creatures and just like crazy, interesting scapes and monsters and demons. There's that one giant demon, I suddenly forgot his name, but you literally crawl on his head and you just have him march through the city of Blood. I forget what it was called, but or was it City of Screams? I can't remember. Anyways,
I like City of Screams more.
You march through and you're just stomping on everything until you. But it was so fun. Like the way that you could do that and control all these other monsters. The character development is there. You get to see something that is also relevant today. Like, we're talking about a war that happened, thousands of years ago. That was very violent, and comparatively now to war, like, most people in war aren't like having to like get down their heads that bloody with swords and everything, right? So something that is much darker. And so here we have this guy who was trained basically by the devil in the devil's war to fight, and thinks that he's doing it for Christ. He's got this mission. And now he's dealing with PTSD, and he's coming to terms to realizing of all of his sins, the horrible things that he's done, but he's using what the devil taught him against him. That's badass.
Okay. That's been quite a debate we've had so far about this. So let's get some probing questions going in here. Let's go with this, because we're comparing specifically a game that came out for the PlayStation 2 in 2011-ish, 2010, 2011-ish, for a game that came out to the PlayStation 4 in around 2017, 2018.
It was actually on Xbox 360 as well.
But I'm comparing apples to apples here.
Okay.
Both games were beautiful for their time. So, Tom, do you think that we would do, especially now in the time that we are, and all the stuff that had happened with going through all those levels of hell, do you think that game would be as well done or profound or as beautiful as it was if that Dante's Inferno was done today?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for this type of game, these are the only types of games left where you actually get a full game when you buy it. So first of all, yes, I think the studio would put the same craft and care into it. Yeah, like I can see it, like the argument about it being kind of on the shorter side of things. I think it took me about 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't beat God of War. It just wasn't quite my thing. But I've heard that it's not really that much longer. So with content, it's just the fact that you got more games.
The new one I beat in about 13 hours.
Yeah.
So
it's
a little bit of like side stuff too.
yeah, I don't know. Like I think there's similar style games, and I think that type of game is the type that people really like, and it's the type that studios still invest a lot of care in the craft into.
Well, that partially answered my question, but I just had this image now when you said that about like, you know, you get a whole game of like nowadays we might have to be like, get the first level or the first realm now, and then the next DLC will come out if you get the season pass.
Has DayZ ever launched?
DayZ launched forever ago.
Oh, okay. Well,
Not a bad game.
I bought that forever ago
And you still haven't played
on like early access or whatever, right?
it? Okay.
I played it for like a couple weeks and then I stopped because early access DayZ was awful. And then I just never got around to playing it, but
It got better.
it was like 2 or 3 years of just nothing.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of games out there right now that are in early access, and honestly, some of the best games out there right now are early access games. But this is taking off topic. So now for the God of War end.
Here.
If you look at the other 3 God of War games, the story is literally an A to B story. Kratos wants a thing, Kratos goes after the thing.
And you got a Mighty Man like that.
Yeah. And essentially, you have the same thing with Dante's Inferno. He wants his wife back, so he goes and does the Orpheus thing and tries to go back to hell to go get her. Now, God of War, the new one, has a bit more of a story to it. If they were to do Dante's Inferno today, I would imagine they would expand on that story, right? What development company do you see having Dante's Inferno do it? I'm flipping this a little bit because the conversation's kind of straightforward already. So,
What development company would I put that in the hands of?
yes.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard pressed. I mean, I know there's a couple of different good ones out there, but
If you say EA, they will literally do the DLC thing.
first
Like
of all,
I said,
wait. I hope I can say something like this on "Fuck you, EA." Anyway,
I didn't stop you in the last episode you were on.
So I guess I look at it like there's tons of companies out there.
Yeah.
Who would I trust the most? None of them. Well, number one, I'm making my own company, so I'm going to eventually take these kind of reins.
Okay.
I hope to see this kind of exact stuff happening with me, actually. But if it were one existing company now, I hate to say this, lesser of however many evils are there, Sony. Like, mind you, that's the top echelon. I'm not sponsored. The Sony just has so many taps, and mind you, I have to say I'm not a PlayStation fanboy. Will I go more proprietary towards it? Only for certain things. To be honest with you, there's tons of Xbox stuff that I would touch. But with Sony, I love the way that they have a little bit more care. And unfortunately, you can't hand it to Nintendo because that's too family oriented. So I would have to say that Sony, they've got so many good developers that they could push into this. So much good talent, and really, like, I'm not going on that side. Dante's Inferno is subpar to God of War, but I gotta say that they could really make something beautiful.
Right on. And I agree. I think that they would totally have something great with that. They've done great with games like their helps with in Spider-Man, things like that. Now, Tom, going back to you on another question for this, kind of tying into flipping the script. For God of War, because it is a short game, and obviously they're working on the sequel to coming out next year by what PlayStation just announced for God of War Ragnarok. What would you like to see the story for Ragnarok to be? Knowing that you didn't finish the end of the game, for all that didn't finish the game, you find out towards the end of the game that Kratos' son, Atreyu, I believe is his name, is actually Loki. He's destined to have been Loki. That was the name his wife wanted to name him, but they decided to change it. And he is destined, based off of a Norn's rune that they found at the end, to bring on Ragnarok. So that's the story that they're bringing. What would you like to see that done? How that done?
This is really hard because I know the story of Ragnarok. I've read it quite a few times. I'm a huge fan of Norse mythology, and I mean, one of the more interesting points of it to me is like it's what restarted humanity with their version of Adam and Eve. After it all ended, the tree of life protected one man and one woman, and there was like 2 or 3 gods that survived. So how can this be translated for God of War, which is already kind of established, not in modern times, but you know what I mean, like in some historical elements that we already hold or have. I don't know, what would I like to see?
What would make it tastier for you?
Yeah.
I would say the big battle where you have Loki's son, the wolf, and the great serpent, both of Loki's children.
Yes.
Teaming up with not Hela, but the fire demon.
Surtur.
Surtur, yeah.
Sorry.
Like let's be honest, the movie Thor Ragnarok, loved it. Doesn't do any justice to Surtur. I want to see justice done for that, like one of the most badass demons. And I do think that if there's any game that could pull it off, I think God of War could.
Yeah, that'd be a fun fight to see Kratos take on Surtur. So, all right. So, we've got some great conversation now about this. A pretty simple fight, largely because these both are so very similar in what they are. So, let's go ahead and move on now to final thoughts.
Final round. Fight.
All right, sir. So, Nigel, give me your last big pitch of why God of War over Dante's Inferno.
If one were to say the final thoughts and to just leave it at that, I would say the love and the care that they put into the story between Kratos and Loki's mother. I always forget her name. I don't think it's really mentioned all that much. But anybody else know? No, I didn't think so.
I can't remember.
Okay, I'm not the only one. Just making sure.
Laufey?
Not
Like-
Lobby?
Well, Laufey, like people say Laufey or Loive.
Well, Loki's name is Loki Laufeyson.
Yeah, it's been a while
So
since I've
probably
even
something similar
played
to
this. Great game, but I'm horrible with names. All my girlfriends know. I'm just kidding. Anyway, the idea behind the final thoughts with their love story, that 2 games I've ever shed an actual tear to, where I've taken a moment and said, "You got me. Yeah, I'm crying. That was great." And it is so hard to do. And to be honest with you, this is one of them. This is definitely one of them where I shed a legitimate tear. It was so touching. It was so deep and involved. Mind you, the love story in Dante's Inferno was great, but a god, or was he a demigod?
He was a demigod.
A demigod showing so much love, care, and devotion towards the child, just to make sure that he showed the love and care and devotion towards his mother. Man. Oof.
Great story. And just so everyone knows, the other game that Nigel cried out was Frogger. So,
All right, so here's the thing with Dante's Inferno. I feel like it's a more impactful game, and it's something that has it's very layered intentionally, and yes, I mean the pun as well. It's very layered, and is so reflective of the human psyche experiencing trauma, PTSD, abuse from both like parents or relatives. Dealing with suicide, dealing with the loss of children. It deals with every possible hell a human can go through and their psyche. And if you really wanted to break down and think about this, like he is saving his fiance who has had to go through all 9 of these hells, and he has to save her from them now. Addiction, gluttony, everything possible in there, but it's done in the most beautiful scape with the most romantic story. You cannot tell me that the storytelling and the character development is anything short of excellent.
I didn't even get through the first area.
well,
That means you're not good at games.
Oh, you got me.
So yeah, I think God of War is great. I think it's fun, but I think that Dante's Inferno has that extra psychological thriller that has real world applications. It teaches young people about history, historical events, theology. There's so much that goes on there. I just think it's a good game that everyone should play. I'm not saying it's going to change your life or that you should write your books and preach about it, but I think that it's very relevant and interesting and can give you a new perspective.
Alrighty. Well, guys, first off, let me just say both these games are fantastic and you should play them, but they are mature games. So please make sure to be an adult and or get your parents' permission.
Put the kids to bed.
Watch your kids.
Because there is a lot of naked ladies in both of these games. Yes.
I'm going to buy myself a PlayStation.
But with that being said, this was a pretty even debate for both ends. Both of these games are both fantastic, and at their times, they were games of the year. Both are just beautiful to look at. I'd honestly say that Dante's Inferno was well ahead of its time when it came to its design, playstyle, and everything else. But at the same time, God of War is a staple for PlayStation. So, or the new PlayStation for the new version of God of War. So it is difficult to say on this which one is the better of the two games. And honestly, I don't know if your debates either way swayed me. What do you think, Puppet Pat?
I mean, I'd play both of them probably if I had a PlayStation, but at this point, asking me a question like that is pointless.
The only thing I would say on this, and the only thing that just kind of leans me over from one side to the other, and it's just barely, is they have both great stories, great character development. They're both beautiful for their time. And part of the reason I asked for you guys to fight on the other end of this as we went on is to see if you guys would be able to find some common ground or a way to fight on more from there. But I think I'm going to have to give this to Tom and Dante Inferno.
Yes.
Largely because, Nigel, I don't think that you were able to bring Dante's Inferno down enough, where Tom was able to bring down God of War slightly. By more about bringing up Dante's Inferno, talking about how the history developments and talking about the other add-ons, the blending of the stories with the variance difference of hells and PTSD and everything else like that, which I love Dante's Inferno. If I have to go and buy one of the two games today, I'm buying God of War, right? But I love Dante's Inferno. I love God of War. But based off the arguments alone, I'm giving it to Tom.
Yes. Take that.
So, and you all know how I feel about letting Tom win anything. So
It's true. Brian hates it.
I was going to say,
it's just based off the
not
arguments.
expected.
I know.
There's one more argument that I wanted to make because you kept saying
Argument's
you get
over. You won. Don't talk yourself out of a win, buddy.
No, I just wanted to say you kept talking about you get to play as a god, but how much cooler is it that a human gets to kill the Grim Reaper and use his weapon to kill everyone in hell? That is super cool. I know the fights are over, but I forgot to say that in the fight, and I really wanted to, and I just kept forgetting.
But you also get to take out 24 gods over 4 games, plus all the other games and stuff. And
plus all the minis.
Yeah.
Well, so, a lot of the Greek gods were used symbolically and are in Dante's Inferno.
Well, that's because of the Christianity blending in.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Back in the early
But with that, guys, let us know here in the comments what you guys thought. If you think I chose poorly, if you guys have additions on to their fights, if you guys want to join us in a fight, let us know right here in the comments. And again, don't forget to hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when we come on for everything that we do. As well as go on to BeHeroMedia.com where we have every link to everything that we do as well as our merch.
Exactly. And yeah, Facebook.com/BeHeroMedia, Instagram.com/BeHeroMedia. We want to hear from you. We want to get you involved. If you want to be on the show, if you have any topic ideas, anything like that, hit us up.
as well as we constantly post things like this fight we posted previously. We post other mini debates and conversational bits. We have started pairing up with a lot of cosplayers and posting their images and sharing stuff with them. So if you want to do that and see that stuff, or if you want to hit us up about being one of our contributing cosplayers, let us know. You can also hit us up on our Twitters at Be Hero Media and Be Hero Fight.
That's right.
So,
Nigel, do you have anything that you would like to plug?
Let's see, Easily Entertainment. We've got a website started on, it is deviantart.com. The username is, off the top of my head, Easily E Entertainment. So that is deviantart.com, Easily Entertainment. Right now I've got one really talented artist. She right now is unfortunately suffering through, I apologize. Autoimmune, yes. Yeah. So I always forget because I feel like it's more impactful because it's literally targeting her heart right now, and it's so horrible to see, but it is so amazing to watch her push through all this stuff. She's a great kid, amazing talent, absolutely amazing talent. Honey, if you are watching this, you are beautiful inside and out. Her sketches, just her simple doodling is amazing. I'm actually going to be meeting up here with her pretty soon. We're going to be going all the different things that she's going to be doing. She's going to be actually doing painting, canvas painting for a bunch of different stuff. I know she got a Transformer one, Optimus Prime going. Love that stuff. Oh, absolutely love that. I'm so looking forward to that one. So all the different things that I've got going on for her, and mainly this is my business, but to be honest with you, I want to see that girl push through and persevere. She is a beautiful soul. So Easily E Entertainment at deviantart.com. See all the different things that she's doing, and it'll blow your mind. It really will.
And we'll have all that information right here in the descriptions as well, both on the podcast descriptions, or show notes, as well as on the description on YouTube. And then, of course, we will tag everything that we can through all of our social medias on her art as well. So, guys, thank you guys for joining us on this great episode once again. Is there anything else, guys?
I think that about wraps it up.
Well, enjoy the hell out of this with you guys.
Oh, yeah, it was great having you on again. So, guys, as always, fight on!